What is up, everyone? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Welcome to one of the Holy Trinity. Which, as you guys can see by the title and thumbnail of the video, I'm going to be versing the Holy Trinity against each other. So the modern cars, anyway, which is the Ferrari, the McLaren P1, and the Porsche 918 Spider. And all three of these are going to be going head to head against each other. Down the needle climb, I'm going to turn all three of them into drift cars because we're in Forza Horizon 4 and you are on my channel where I drift everything possible. And I'm going to be turning, like I said, all of these three into proper drift cars and see how they handle, see how good they are, and just pretty much bring them head to head because it's just a lot of fun to do stuff like that. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, then please subscribe because it helps me out a lot. And also, if you want to see the the older generation of the Holy Trinity do the same thing, then yeah, let me know down in the comments below. Show your support by hitting that like button. And again, like I said, subscribe if you're new and you enjoy the content here. But I'm going to start off with the Ferrari because this is what I'm driving right now. This is completely stock right now. I haven't done anything. I haven't added suspension changes. I haven't done anything to this car. No power changes, nothing. So I'm going to be driving this thing completely stock as well as with the other cars. And then I'm just going to go take them down the hill completely stock and then completely modified and then see what they're like. However, the one thing that I'm not going to change on all of these is their drivetrain. So I'm not going to change this, for example, into an all-wheel drive. I'm not going to change the P1 into an all-wheel drive, nor am I going to change the 918 into a rear-wheel drive. So again, the P1 and this are both rear-wheel drive, but the 918 is all-wheel drive as standard. Also, really quick thing, this being completely stock, it drives so well. Like, you point the front end in the direction. Like, I'm not even drifting right now, I'm just driving it normally because I want to go downhill with it. But you just point the nose in whatever direction you want to go and you just sort of accelerate. And it just pushes you in that direction. It's just crazy how good this car actually is. Especially when it was built brand new, this thing was nuts. But yeah, again, there needs to be a replacement for all these cars very, very soon. So, sure, we'll see what happens then. Now, like I said, let's take this downhill. Completely stock. It sounds amazing. See what it's like when I take it a little sideways. It's actually really good. It's really, really good when it's sideways. I have lost the front end there a little bit though. Because it's mid-engine, right? It feels very nippy to drive. It still doesn't feel as good as like a 458 or something like that to drive. Especially when you're taking it sideways. Like, it just feels like the 458 feels a little bit more nimble than this. Again, both being, you know, rear-wheel drive, mid-engine supercars. This obviously having a stupid amount of power. It's different. And obviously this has much wider wheels. So the grip is going to change dramatically between this and the 458, for example. But overall, this thing is a monster. A V12 sounds great too. So this is pretty much what this thing is like stock. Like I said, I'm gonna drift the 918 completely stock, and same with the P1. And then afterwards, I'm gonna take them out sideways after I've fully upgraded them, drift suspension on everything. I'm pretty sure you can put drift suspension on all three of them. I know for a fact you can do it on this car, but I'm pretty sure you can do it on every single one of the cars. But most importantly, I just want them to have more power and be able to drift them easier. I mean, the 918 I think I could do without drift suspension because it's all-wheel drive, you know. But the P1 and this, I feel like I need drift suspension. That's why I spun it very, very easy at the very beginning. It's really easy car to slide. Really, really easy. I mean, it doesn't need more power at all. Like, it just needs a bit of suspension upgrades and that's pretty much it with the Ferrari. So, okay. Let's bring out our next opponent, I guess, and that's the P1. Completely stock, and let's see what that's like. Now this obviously has a different sound, but this feels a little bit more lively already. Oh my god. I don't know why. It feels like it wants to touch those tires even more than the Ferrari. Oh my god. Oh my god, this feels like a proper drift car. I mean, this thing with all that power going to the rear wheels. Again, completely stock. Like I said, it feels like it just wants to torch those tires so badly. I can't keep this in fourth for most of these corners. A little bit here, but look how quickly it accelerates though. To hit limiter, and then I have to stick it into fifth for these like longer corners. This thing is nuts. I felt like the Ferrari was a little bit more manageable, a little bit easier to drive, but Jesus. It's so nice though. I think the front is a little bit more grippy than the left Ferraris, just a tiny bit. Like I feel like I can have slightly bigger angle and then still save it, if that makes sense. Whereas in the left Ferrari I just felt like I was sort of... Oh, I lost it there. I thought I could slide all the way into the corner, but I couldn't. A stock P1 does 390,000 points. This is really good. This is really, really good, the slide stock. It's completely different to the LaFerrari. I mean, the same basic setup is still there, you know, mid-engine, rear-wheel drive, lots of power, but it just feels even less stable. I don't know. It feels like less of the assists are off, which makes no sense because my assists are always off. Anyway, let's bring out the 918 and see what that's like. Now, with the 918 being the least powerful one, not by much, but the least powerful one and the heaviest one, and it has all-wheel drive, I feel like this one should be a little bit more difficult to slide around with. Or not more difficult, but I feel like it'll give me the most resistance. Again, this thing is made to absolutely demolish a track. It's not made to go around sideways. Especially with it being all-wheel drive. Yeah, this was harder. I can already tell. The mid-engine rear-wheel drive cars were just easy because you just sort of put the power down and they just go sideways, you know, because no assists are on. This just wants to straighten up the entire time. Again, this is made to handle well. This is made not to oversteer. This is made literally just to go around corners as fast as possible, have as much grip as it possibly can. It's definitely the fastest one going downhill because of all-wheel drive. It's just sort of pulling itself along. Well, pushing and pulling at the same time, actually. So it definitely doesn't feel natural sliding it. Well, we'll see what it's like once we change stuff on it. And make it so it does feel natural trying to slide. Because again, all-wheel drive in this game will get you the most amount of points. I'm not really going for points here in general, but we'll see the difference in points once all of these are fully built. But yeah, it just feels like it doesn't want to go sideways or it doesn't want to stay sideways. It just feels like it's about to straighten up again. And you can see I'm in second gear instead of like the other cars being in like fourth gear or whatever it was. Fourth and fifth. It's just, like I said, you can send it sideways, but it just wants to straighten up every time. And we'll finish off with 320. It doesn't feel great. It doesn't feel great trying to slide. But we'll try it with this and we work backwards. Alright? Well, let's take the 918, bring it into the festival. Now let's do stuff to it. And make it so it drives as well as it can as a drift car in this game. Right then. So, obviously, like I said, drivetrain swap, I'm going to leave it alone and I'm going to leave that the way it is. I'm going to bring this thing and twin turbo it. I'm going to give it as much power as possible. I'm going to try and give it the best wheels as possible. Do everything in my power to be able to get this thing to handle the best way that I think it can handle. I think wheel-wise, these already are the lightest wheels, so I'm not going to change anything there. Again, the Holy Trinity is just already built to be as light as possible, as fast as possible. You know? So it's not going to be something that I'm going to be afraid of. I knew it was going to happen. I knew all of these will have drift suspension. But yeah, they've already been built, you know, to be perfect cars. But obviously, I'm gonna make them perfecter when it comes to drifting. So that's what's happening. And with that, we're done. 1400 horsepower, 1,800 newton meters of torque. That's so much, and it weighs 1,429 kilos. So my torque is stupid high now, compared to what it was before. compared to the rest of the cars, I mean, it's just so much more. Okay, the twin turbos just made it crazy. Okay, this should be much easier to drive first of all, but I'm gonna mess around with a tune on it, and I guess I'll see you guys when I'm finished with that, because this thing, I feel like this thing is just gonna dominate now, because it's all-wheel drive. I just feel like it's just gonna be so easy to drive. Yeah. It's just not even the same. Oh, it's not even the same. Oh my god, and the drag tires are ridiculous. Alright, I'm going up to the top of the hill. I'm also going to mess around with a tune. I'll be right back. Give me a sec, guys. Alright, I'm trying it with the setup. Let's just see what it's like. I haven't adjusted my gears, actually. That's the one thing that I haven't tried yet. The drag tires are so different to the tires I had before. I had so much grip before, and now these drag tires, the lateral grip just isn't there. And when you try to launch this thing, it just shoots off. Watch this, watch. It's just gone. It's so much faster than before too. Again, lateral grip just isn't there. This thing is nuts with drag tires. Okay, I need to slow down so much more. But again, just driving this thing from before, it just makes it seem so grippy, and like, I don't know, it just feels weird driving it like this, where it has so much less grip. It is crazy it's so easy to drive. Like, I don't need this power at all. These drag tires just make everything so much easier. I think stock with this setup and the drag tires, this is actually, it would have been a really, really good car. I genuinely think sim steering on this thing with like some better driving or a better driver behind the wheel, this can do 600,000 points downhill without a problem. Because even right now, I honestly feel like with my crappy driving that I'm doing right now, I'm gonna get over 500,000 points easily. This is nuts. I already think this is gonna be the winner. I genuinely think this is already the winner. Like, it's just so good. It's so easy because they've made it so I have about 70% of the power going to the rear wheels. And the gear ratios are already perfect, where I just used third gear for everything. It's just so solid. And I just have to sort of figure out the good grip with these drag tires. This is so good to drive. My god, have I made this thing such a monster to drive. Again, I'm pretty sure, like I said, with sim steering, I can just keep this at whatever angle I want, and it just keeps going sideways. Yeah, these drag tires made a massive, massive difference. I think those are the ones that made the biggest difference with this thing. The power is good and all, but like, this is nuts. It's so good. Okay, well, let's move on to the P1, I guess. I mean, I don't know what else to say about this thing. I love it. I love the 918. The 918 turned out to be such a good car. Anyway, like I said, let's move on and see what else we got. Right, now we got the P1 in the garage. Let's have a look and see what we can do to it. It's probably going to be very similar stuff to what we can do with the 918. It's already twin turbo, so obviously not going to do any drivetrain swap over there. Visually, again, it's just a terrible Forza parts that we usually get to change. I'm going to give this drag tires as well. And because it's rear wheel drive, I honestly feel like I need more grip with this car, especially after I max it out. I'm going to go with 325s on the back. And then maybe 255s on the front. I just feel like it needs it. Again, wheels most likely... Oh, I was about to say, they're not really the lightest wheels. Okay, interesting. Interesting choice by McLaren. Let's have a look. See if we can have anything else on this car that'll make these... make it have slightly lighter wheels, as well as hopefully make it look better. I mean, the standard wheels are alright. I mean, aren't they carbon fiber wheels? I swear they should be really, really lightweight anyway. Should I put some Advan wheels on it? I mean, I could. All of these are pretty much the same. None of these are lightweight. It's only when we get to these ones, I think one or two of them are lightweight. But I think something from here would have to go on this thing. Would I give it... Wait, where is it? Would I give it some rotor wheels? Nah, they're not lightweight. Yeah, I don't know. I could put slightly similar wheels to what I had before, which is these. These pretty much look very similar to McLaren. It has... They're four... they're four lug wheels. That's just weird looking on this. Should I put T30... Yeah, let's put T37s on it. Why not? Just to make it funny looking. Again... You get to think the handle well. This is one thing I don't think we had on the 918. But track width is going to be very useful. Put that for the gearbox, because I think we'll need it. Drift suspension, get this thing to be nice and low, as well as handling purposes. 1,300 kilos, and then upgrade to twin turbos. It's only going to make 1,100 horsepower, but I'm not complaining because this is rear-wheel drive instead of the all-wheel drive that we had with the 918. It looks much lower. It looks like it's a race mode now, which is what the car usually is able to do anyway. So it's got a little bit more power. It's got a little bit more, or sorry, a little bit less weight, but it has also less grip when it comes to these tires. Sure, we'll see. Like I said, we will see what this thing is like now once we go and drive it. So I'm gonna mess around with a tune, and we'll see if I can get this thing to handle really well. So again, launching it, I'm understeering like crazy, by the way, because of the drift suspension. And then sideways is the big question here. I'm really pushing this thing along. It feels like it has less but also more grip. I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone. Like when it's being pushed along, I feel like it's got more grip. If I'm holding the handbrake, I just feel like it'll stay sliding for longer. Weird. Anyway, it's nice. It's nice so far. Like I said, I'm gonna mess with the tune for it, and then I'll be right back and see if I can find out something that I can make useful. I think the gear box is probably one thing that I'm gonna have to get used to, or I'm gonna have to change some stuff on, because right now I'm just banging every gear up until like 5th, without it actually doing anything. So I'll be right back. Let me mess around with this thing a little bit. Right. Well, this thing has a lot of power, and it's all going to the rear wheels, so it just feels a lot more difficult to drive already. I just have to be really, really careful with my throttle control with this car. Whereas with the 918, I would just floor it and be fine. But again, oh my god. Yeah, the drag tires are crazy on this thing. It just lets it go so far. However, it's not really unpredictable, if that makes sense. The only thing is, like I said, I have to really control my throttle here. Like, I can't just like plant my foot down and be fine with it, you know? It's so much more difficult to drive than a 918. It's just completely night and day. I feel like the Ferrari will be very, very close to this. I like my gear ratios now. I feel like 4th gear is, even though those drag tires are crazy for doing that. See here, I'm kind of scared. I'm scared because I feel like I'm gonna lose it if I don't know. It just, like I said, it feels weird to drive because I have to be super, super careful with my throttle with this car. It is not easy to drive. I made it as easy as I possibly can. I'm pretty sure with sim steering this is much, much better to drive. Like, much better. But, right now, like I said, it just feels really, really uneasy. I feel like it's got too much power. It does have grip, but like lateral grip, I feel like it just isn't there. sometimes. Especially when I'm like using my handbrake or whatever, when I'm already sliding around, you know, after I transition and I'm sliding towards a corner. I feel like I just don't have any control there at all. It feels strange. But I've done the best I could when it comes to controlling the slide, you know, with that front end. The front end was given away like so easy. Like I felt like I couldn't keep any angle. Yeah, I felt like I just couldn't keep any angle with it. But this was like as I was tuning the car. But right now it feels solid. It feels easy to like, you know, once you get into a slide, it feels easy to slide, you know, like with the counter steering and stuff like that. It just feels easy. The thing is though, you have to be so careful with your throttle control with this car. Especially when it's making this much power and it's all going to the rear wheels with some very sketchy tires. Like I said, just try to be in control when you're messing around with this thing. I'll put shake codes for all 3 cars at the end of the video, so you guys can try them out yourselves. But like I said, with this thing, I think sim steering would probably be the best option for this car. And I'm gonna say the same thing probably about the Ferrari, just because they have a similar layout, you know. But yeah, it's a very, 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 very fast car, and it's very squirrely all the time. But I do recommend you try it out because it actually is really, really fun to drive. But yeah, that's it. Let's move on to the the final car for the Holy Trinity. Let's see what that's like. And now, last but not least, we have the Ferrari. Let's have a look and see what we do here. Again, I'm going to keep the same drivetrain as we had stock. Again, usual ugly Forza parts. That's okay. Gonna put drag tires on this thing. Pretty much do the same thing that I've done with that. This one already has 265 tires on it, so they're already bigger than what they were on the McLaren P1. Less grip with this thing, I feel like, or more power, and then I'll have less grip with it. I think I'm gonna go with 285s. That's probably one of the things that I'll probably change on the P1, and it'll probably drive a little bit better. And that will be the front tire size. I'm pretty sure I should have gone at least one step higher. Just one. So maybe it's, I'm pretty sure it's on 255s. If it goes to like 275s or something like that, I think that'll make the car handle a lot better, in my opinion. And then it'll be much better if I pick those. So I'll probably end up doing that right after this, because again, it drives really well, but I just feel like it could use a little bit more grip. As for the wheels, I'm just gonna pick these because, I mean, why not? Who cares? Again, these are just, I just want to pick the lightweight wheels, and that's pretty much it. And now, pretty much upgraded everything. It looks like we have pretty much the same sort of upgrades as we had on the P1. So, I guess that's fine. Here we can change a couple more things though. We can't turbo this, which is strange. But we'll get it to have a little bit more power, but not too much. I feel like this one's going to be a little bit more stable, because this one only goes up to about 1,093 horsepower. And I feel like this one's going to be a little bit more stable than the P1. The P1, like, I just wanted to max all these cars out and just to see how good they are. But I feel like the P1 doesn't need that much power. And again, with this thing pretty much looking like that, we'll see. Again, I'm going to have to mess with a tune for this car and see what it's like, but I'm pretty sure this was a lot more twitchy anyway, regardless. So like the front end of this was so much better than the front end of the P1 from before anyway, even stock. So I feel like this should be much easier to tune as a rear wheel drive, especially with less power. So I think this will be really, really easy and really nice to drive. But yeah, the P1 was just crazy. It was just so squirrely and all over the place. So a lot of throttle control required with that one, but this I feel like I could just like plant my foot down all the time and I should be fine. Anyway, like I said, I'm gonna mess around with a tune. I'll be right back. Oh my god, I love it. Again, coming from the P1, it makes me feel a little cautious when just like planting my foot down, but this is not the P1. This is nice. It feels like an all-wheel drive car. Obviously without the extra bit of counter steering that I'm doing, but I'm a little bit straightened up here, which is fine, I guess, for now, but for point drifting, the 918 is just unmatched. But this is so nice. Like, the 918 feels like a different beast, right? The P1 just feels like it has too much power. This feels natural. Oh, I finally spun it. I finally spun it. It's because of the terrain. Oh, not the terrain, but the elevation change. It's fine. I'll just continue. We'll just continue. Just pretend it didn't happen. It's because of the random bit, because it was going downhill as well. And I gave it just a tiny bit too much power. The front wheels couldn't handle it. It's so easy to slide. Wow, I love this. I much prefer drifting rear-wheel drive than all-wheel drive, because I feel like all-wheel drive is just a little boring sometimes, but... It's so smooth and so easy to drive. I love this tune. I love the tune that I put on this thing. It's actually really, really smooth. I really like it. Well, everyone, I guess that's it, the Holy Trinity. How would I rank these? In terms of easiest to hardest to drive, it's definitely 918 this, and then the P1. Like, 100%. How much I like driving each, I think the LaFerrari is my favorite to drive. It's just the nicest feeling one to drive, especially that it's rear-wheel drive. It just gives you better feeling when you're driving it. The P1 is just nuts. The P1 is just like swirling everywhere. It's crazy. It's a mad experience to drive. And I definitely recommend you try it, but I honestly think, and then the P1 is just, or not the P1, but the 918 is just easy. The 918 is just so easy. You just go sideways, you floor it all the time, use your handbrake to slow down and stuff. It's just, it's easy, typical all-wheel drive setup with a stupid amount of power, you know. So it's fine, you know. But like, as a proper experience, I think the LaFerrari right now, it feels natural having this amount of power. It's not overpowered at all. I feel like this thing with like 1,300 horsepower, whatever the P1 has, would probably act the same. It'll probably act the same as the P1, you know, be super unstable, have to feather the throttle like so much, and, you know, be careful with the amount of steering that you do and stuff like that. This, you just sort of send it sideways right now. A lot of the time you can just sort of plant your foot down and floor it, and it'll just take it. Like, look how easy and smooth that was to go around that corner. It's just really nice. Well, anyway, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Like I said, if you guys want to see me try to do the Holy Trinity with the older generation of the Ferrari, Porsche, and McLaren, then let me know down in the comments below, and I'll definitely try that out. But again, I've drifted them because we are in Forza Horizon 4, and you are on my channel where I drift everything. Thank you again for watching, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.